So with the new anniversary season, we were introduced a new skill damage chess piece called Impetus, which comes with a talent called Perfect Kinetic Momentum. And a lot of you guys asked me, your skills, do you have a skill damage build to use this chess piece on? And well, I do. And I actually had a build that I was using regular kinetic momentum, and now it just got even better. I had to swap some pieces around, but we're going to be breaking it down all for you in this video. And you guys are actually seeing the gameplay right here. Now, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm NothingButSkillz. We'll be breaking down another Division 2 video. Let's get into it. So the build I'll be breaking down today is a pure damage skill build. I like to call this one the lazy boy build. You sit back in cover, you build your stacks on your capacitor, and you let your skills do most of the damage. And when you're done, you collect the loot and you move on. So we're going to start off with the weapon, which is going to be an exotic assault rifle, the Capacitor. Now, why is the Capacitor best in slot for this? Because of the amount of damage you're going to gain from this. Not only does it have really good total damage, the RPM is nice, the max size is decent. The way the Capacitor works, it's going to increase the amount of skill damage you output on your build. We have assault rifle, damage to armor, damage targets out of cover on here. And then the talent for the Capacitor is where this weapon shines. Shooting enemy builds stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack will grant you 1.5% skill damage. At 1.5% skill damage max stack, you're sitting at 60% extra skill damage on this build. Also, for every yellow core you have on this build, you're gonna gain 7.5% weapon damage. And since we have 6 yellow cores on this build, that's an additional 40% weapon damage on this weapon itself. So you can see already we're getting a lot of damage added to our build because we are using the Capacitor. If we get into our gear pieces, we are going to be running an Empress International 3-piece. That means we're going to be unlocking the 3-piece brand set bonus. We're going to get 10% skill health for the 1-piece, 10% skill damage for the 2-piece, and then 8% skill efficiency because we are running 3 pieces. Now, skill efficiency for any of you new players, what that is skill health, skill damage, skill haste, skill duration. Anything skill related goes under skill efficiency. So our first piece of Empress is going to be the mask, and we're going to have skill tier, skill haste, skill damage, and for the mod we're running a skill haste mod. For our second piece of Empress, it's going to be the gloves with skill tier, status effects, skill damage. Ideally you don't want status effects there, you want to have skill haste. For our third piece of Empress, it's going to be the knee pads, skill tier, skill haste, and skill damage is what you're going for. For the chest piece, we're running the new name chest piece, the Impetus. Remember, this is a Waveform chest piece, so it's going to give us 8% skill damage. We're going to have skill tier, skill damage, skill haste, and a skill duration mod. And then we have the talent called Perfect Kinetic Momentum. When in combat, each skill generates a stack while active or not on cooldown. Now, stacks increase your total skill damage by 1.5% and total skill repair by 2%. Up to 18 stacks per skill. Now this is lost when on cooldown. So this is probably going to be one of my favorite skill damage chest pieces to use on my skill damage builds. Now for the bag, I went with the Force Multiplier bag. This is a handy you name bag that gives you 10% skill haste. We have skill tier, skill haste, skill damage, and a skill duration mod. And the talent is Perfect Combined Arms. Shooting an enemy increases total skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. Now you can also use a different bag if you would like and go with something like tech support where you don't have to consistently be shooting the enemies, but that's really up to you. That's just an option you guys can use. If you want max skill damage output, that's where we're gonna go with Perfect Combined Arms. But let's talk about an exotic piece that we have on here, the Waveform holster. So we have skill tier, skill damage, and skill haste. Now the talent on the Waveform holster is what makes it so powerful. It generates a stacks of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second, capping at 10 stacks. After 10 stacks, at the cap, the stacks transfer to your other skills, and then they go back and forth. So you could have up to 30% skill damage on one skill at any given time. And then as it goes back and forth, you could have 10% on one, 20% on the other, and then 30% will be the cap. And if you look at the symbol from the talent, next to where all my skills are in my UI, you can also see how it's going back and forth, and you can see how it's charging as it swaps from one skill to the other. And that's why this makes this one of the best skill damage exotics to use on your skill build. Now the 2 skills I recommend running with the skill damage build is going to be your striker drone. Now I do have a tier 6 on here, and I like it so much that I actually put 30 expertise in my striker drone. And for my second skill, I like the assault turret. You can see it's tier 6. I also have 30% expertise in here, giving me some more damage from my skills. And when all the buffs are finally active, that's when you start to see some of those insane numbers from your skills, and you see those enemies start to get shredded. And that's what's amazing about the skill damage build. You sit back, you relax, you let your skills do all the damage, and when the fighting's over, you go collect all your loot and you move on. And that's why skill builds are actually really powerful in the Division 2. It allows you to not have to worry about killing enemies with your weapon and letting your skills do more of the work. So if you are looking for a build where your skills are going to carry you through some of that harder content, well, this is one of those skill builds you can add to your loadouts, and hopefully it helps you guys out. And for anybody wondering, your skills, you have 30 expertise in your skills. Does it really matter? While it is a nice boost to the damage, you will still be able to shred heroic control points missions with this build perfectly fine. The skills will still do an insane amount of damage. Obviously, with 30 expertise in the skills, they will be that much stronger. But again, you can use this even at low shade levels, as I had a build like this when I made a new account and I was only around 200 shade level. Now, I will tell you, the refractor set is still going to be my go-to for legendary support skill damage builds, but this skill damage build is great for doing open world activities, missions, or even those control points and being able to sit back, relax, and let your skills do the damage. And that is the build right there. A couple things you guys need to make sure you remember when playing this build. You want to have both skills up, because that's where you're going to get max skill damage from perfect kinetic momentum. Number 2 is you want to make sure that you keep hitting the enemy at least every 3 seconds, so that way you can keep perfect combined arms up. And number 3 is with the capacitor, you want to keep that 40 stat going, so you're getting the max skill damage for your skills. Besides that, just make sure you stay in cover. Now, I did forget to mention my specialization. I am using the technician class. Now, if you decide to run the technician class, you're going to gain 10% skill damage, but also you already get a skill tier. So that means I technically could put 1 blue on this build right here, which is actually a good thing too. So if I want to add 1 blue, get a little bit more armor, I can do that because I do have the technician class. I just didn't have the roles and I forgot to mention that, but wanted to point that out. But guys, this is the build right here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll leave you guys with some gameplay so you guys can see how I handle this control point and how you guys should technically be playing the build. See you in the next one. Hey, Nothing But Skills out.